Hey everyone, welcome to Around the Emirates podcast with Sara Mousa, where I speak to guests from across the UAE about topics you want to hear about. Today I am joined by a pretty badass guest. Hello, Donna.
Hi guys, how are you all? Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show. So Donna I say she's badass because she is actually a training stunt woman. What? What does that even mean? So, Donna, I understand that you've actually been in a couple of pretty big name productions recently. So why don't you kind of tell me your background? How did you get into this industry and kind of what's your story?
Sure, absolutely. So basically, I grew up in a small town in the northeast of Scotland called Aberdeen. And kind of from the very early age of 6 years old, I showed a keen interest in sports. So my life is kind of organically taken me to kind of where I am now. So I started off dancing, doing gymnastics, karate, swimming from a very young age. So I was very, adapt to sports. I just kind of took well to it. From there, dancing and gymnastics kind of stood out, and I had to kind of pick which was my go-to, and I chose dancing. So from dancing, I ended up going to dance college, and then obtained a BA, bachelor's degree in performing arts. And I was lucky enough to travel the world, do musicals, do cruise ships, do music videos, commercials, all these kind of things. So yeah, so I was very lucky in the career that I had. And then, in and amongst all of those dance contracts, I found the gym as like my place of fun and enjoyment. Because, I had to keep fit somehow. As a dancer, you never know when your next contract's going to be. So like you always want to be, you have to be training all the time. You have to keep your body to a certain level and standard. So yeah, I showed a keen interest in group exercise actually to begin. And I used to go to classes all the time. And the coaches used to just keep saying to me, like, Donna, why don't you become a coach? Like, because I was always smiling in the class and, dancing and encouraging people. So then, yeah. So then I was like, you know what? When I had time off, I was like, let me enroll. So I kind of enrolled in a level 2 and level 3 combined personal training course. And just I just learned all the kind of fundamental roles in a gym whilst I was there. So I was working as a receptionist and then learning sales. Then I became a fitness manager and an operations manager. And I went to be a fitness manager in a gym in London for up to 6 years. So I was learning all those roles on the side of like going in and out of contracts. They were quite flexible with me, which was quite good. Like they understood my career and they allowed me to go 3 months or 6 months, come back. So I was very lucky in that sense, but I always came back to the gym. And then obviously from doing group fitness, like people then approached me like for one-to-one personal training. And then I was like, okay, wait till I get my qualification. I wanted to feel like, I have that piece of paper so that I can say, yes, I am qualified. So then, yeah, everything kind of, as I said, just naturally like took me into personal training. Again, I didn't see myself becoming a personal trainer. I didn't see myself becoming a stunt woman, to be honest. Even though when I was little, I do look back and think, that film, that G.I. Jane film, like Demi Moore, that bad, like shaved her head. And I remember always wanting to be in the army. Like, I can do that. So it's quite weird how my life's done like a 360 and I've kind of got to like, that stage. But yeah, so my hunger is just like is always grew to like, just be better and learn as much as I can, keep my qualifications up. And then, the opportunity allowed me to then, when I came back to become a class instructor. So I was doing all that kind of things. And then, my greatest joy, honestly, was really seeing people achieve their greatness and conquer their own limitations and self-doubts that they had. So years of teaching that led me to, build my own fitness brand, Donna Forbes Fitness. So I created that back in 2016. And yeah, it's just kind of been building momentum ever since. Despite being a brand, I moved to the UAE. So I left my brand in the UK as well. And I hired a trainer to work for me who shares similar kind of characteristics and work ethic to me. So yeah, I've just kind of been building that. And in the meantime, I was doing performing and dancing on the side, some fitness modeling jobs. And yeah, stunts in films. So again, the stunt thing came around because as a dancer, we're always trying to find like infill jobs, like what can we do in our downtime? So sometimes I'd be leafleting on the street. Sometimes I'd be dressing up in crazy character costumes. Other times I'd be like, you know, an extra on a TV show, or, you know, I'd be sitting in a cafe being a passerby, or, you know, and then it just happened that I was doing a film called Ready Player One, which is a Steven Spielberg film, and they saw like all my credentials kind of like on my profile, and they were like, "Oh, Donna, we think you'd be good at doing the kind of stunt team." So I kind of got upgraded to stunts and that show, because I was very physical, I was fit, I was strong. So I kind of just fell into it, all in all honesty. It wasn't really my plan. I love being extra. You always meet like cool people. It's better than, you know, maybe taking an office job, like because you always have actors or dancers or musicians who are just doing it on the side. So we're all kind of, you know, like-minded people. So yeah, like that's kind of how I fell into stunts. I got upgraded to that, and then I met the stunt team, and they were like, "Wow, like you should really consider this. She'd be very good." And then I done Jurassic World too, and then again the same. I kind of, yeah, again I was just an extra, and then I got upgraded again. They were like, "Can we put you in the stunt team?" And I was like, "Yes, absolutely." So then, you know, again it was very organic how it happened, and they just wanted like a kind of tall, strong girl that was a little bit fearless. "Oh, can you jump off of this truck? Can you do this?" I was like, "Yeah, I can do all of that." And you know, like what I've learned in my career is you always say yes first and then learn after. So I say yes, and then I'm like, okay, panicking inside. And then I realized I can learn it. So, you know, whatever happens, I've got the skills, you know, I'm qualified, I can pick it up. So that's kind of how it all happened. And then obviously, you know, the best opportunity came to me just a few years ago, where I landed the Amazonian role in the latest Wonder Woman film. Which was, you know, a very, very strange process and how it got there, because obviously Wonder Woman 1, I actually got put up for it maybe 10, 12 times. Honestly, I kept getting put forward. Wow. They're like, "Are you available?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm available." And like all the like, what you probably don't know is like films at the time, they come with code names. So they don't come, it doesn't say, "Oh, for Wonder Woman," it was actually called yeah, it comes under a different title name, so you don't really know what it is that you're going for. So it was called Magic Hour, actually. That was the name. So yeah, I didn't actually know until I kind of turned up, and I was like, okay, there's all these beautiful tall women. I was like, must be women. Like usually, like, you know, usually it's a bit mixed, you know, you have guys, girls, people of different, but this was very specific. Like everyone had to be like 6 feet or above, or like 5'10" or above. We all had to have dark hair. We had to, you know, we all had to be athletic. So, you know, but 2 years previous to that, I got put up for the first film, and they kept releasing me every time. And I'm like, "God, please, like, just see me, just see me. I know I'm right for this." Like I knew in my heart, I was like, "This is me. This is who I am." And it's like, when I look back, it's so funny, because like my clients, my, you know, my class participants, they all used to call me Wonder Woman. It's like a nickname I had. And like one of my clients got me like a door stopper for my house, and it was Wonder Woman. Like after one of my clients done 100 classes with me, he gave me like a birthday cake, Wonder Woman. So I was like, you know, I look back now and I'm like, wow, it's so crazy how, like, you know, all these kind of stepping stones that like the signs have all been there, but it never happened for me. And then I was in a long-term relationship at the time, for the first one, and I never got it. And it was a little bit of a toxic relationship. And then I actually got out of that relationship. And then, you know, 2 years later, I actually landed the part of Wonder Woman, Amazonian. So it was just like, it's crazy that, you know, you have to go through a bit of a journey. You have to go through all this rejection, which, you know, you get so built up, your heart is so set on something, and then they can just take it away at the click of, "Sorry, you're released." I'm like, but why? Like, you want tall girls, you want athletic girls, you want fit girls. This is me. Like everything you want is who I am. Right. So it was so hard. Like it was so hard to accept. And because they kept asking me, I was like, just see me one time. Anyway, it wasn't meant to be that time. And as I said, you know, I went through this like breakup, and then from there, like I built my own fitness brand, like I established myself. I had to do a lot of inner healing. Build myself really from nothing. I really lost my identity. I lost who I was a bit. And then, yeah, this opportunity for the film came about, and it was my time, you know. They were like, "Donna, you've got it." And I remember going to the casting, and when I was in there, it was the very last edition. They'd picked all the Amazons. They literally needed one more. And I
Oh,
was the only
wow.
white girl that got picked. Everyone else was mixed race or black. So it was so strange because part of me actually didn't feel like I belonged there. I felt very out of place, but I felt very welcome when I met the cast. Like we were sisters. To this day, we're still sisters. We're so close. We formed a bond that's like, it's unbreakable. Like we've got such love for each other, and like we just experienced so much together that you can't even put into words, because like only we know what we went through. So it was very interesting. Like the casting, we had to do a boxing edition, like we had to learn movement, and they were doing like a punching sequence, and I actually teach pad work, so I was quite good with, and obviously I'm a dancer as well, so picking up choreography I was quite good at. So it was very quick, like do this, do this, do this. And I remember there was 10 of us in the audition. And I was so nervous. I was like, just, I had prayed before. I was like, Donna, you have nothing to lose. Like, you have to go in and give your best. Like, everything you have needs to be today. Like, don't leave anything on the floor. Like, take everything, every chance, throw yourself into it. If you fail, you fail, but just don't feel like you held back. So I went in, and like boxing was first. I was like, okay, that was moving really well. And then from there, we had to do this like parkour challenge where they put like these high boxes up, and we had to like leap over a box. Yeah, I've never done parkour, by the way, but it was a safe parkour. Yeah, literally it was like a safe. So we had to jump over this box, but we had to do it in like an angelic way where we like slid one leg over. And they said, like, they were like, Donna, imagine this is like a car and you're jumping over a car. So like, if it was like, on the actual camera, this would be like a real life, like wouldn't be jumping over a box, it would be some badass like car,
totally.
like crazy thing. So like we had to jump over it. And I remember he was like, you're first. So I was like, no, because I really wanted to go to the back of the line, see everyone else fail or do it well, and say like, okay, that's what needs to be done. Like, I really wanted to be prepared. Anyway, he was like, you come first. And I was like, oh no. So I just like went for it. I took like 2 steps, 1 jump, and then I put we had to like slide over it, like 1 hip at a time, and then fall off the other side. And I remember I kind of got up, but it wasn't very angelic, I wouldn't say. And I kind of was a little bumpy, but I got up and I fell off on the other side. And then the other girls came and they couldn't quite get up. So I was like, okay. Then he said, come again. The next time I was like, up, slide. And I came down and I was like, yes, I did it. And then literally from there, he literally cut all the girls and kept only me. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, this is such a good sign. Yeah. So I was just like, like you can feel everything's going your way. I felt like the Holy Spirit was literally in me. I was like, something's guiding me. Something's taking me this way. So I was like, this is so cool. And then basically they put me on this wire. And they said, you have to run up a wall, do a backflip, and then land. And I was like, okay, cool. Never done this in my life. Yeah, but I was like, do you know what, Donna? You're on a wire. What's the worst that can happen? You're not going to land on your head. You're not going to break your neck. So like they show you, and you literally have like, honestly, 60 seconds to listen, take instruction, and do it. So they're like, you'll take 2 steps, you'll take 1 step on the wall, 2nd step, and you'll do a backward somersault. And then you'll land down gracefully. I was like, okay. So the first one, I kind of run into the wall, doesn't go that well. And I said, okay, I think I need to go on the left leg first. So the second time I go back, I do the step, I run up the wall, and literally, honestly, I glided like an albatross. That is like, I was just like flying. I felt weightless. I came down. I looked up and I was like, wow, I've done it. And everyone, like the stunt crew, everyone were like, woo, 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 cheering.
Oh, wow.
They were so happy for me. I was so happy. I was like, thank you so much. This is amazing. Everything went well. And then they asked me after that, they said, okay, I want you to stay. We want to take you to another step. And then they put me on this scaffolding. I would say it was like 8 feet maybe. And then they just said, we want you to lunge yourself, like throw yourself off of it. And there's a crash mat, like, no, crash mats, they're like not so thick, but they're down on the floor. So just jump off and we're going to catch you like a few inches off the floor. And I'm like, cool, no problem. Luckily, I'm not scared of heights. But honestly, there's so much adrenaline, you can't think. You just have to go, you just have to throw yourself into it. So I'm like, okay. And this was like, to be honest, my first major experience of doing stunts, really, my first major experience. Because on the other films, I hadn't done something so, scary, I don't think, like to the point where like, okay, my nerves are on edge, but what have I got to lose right now? It's all or nothing. So I kind of just jumped off this building, scaffolding, threw myself. I was like, jump. And then they literally caught me like, almost like my nose was skipping the floor. And I was just like, okay, I've done it. And that was kind of like my last step on the audition for it. And at the end, they said, you know, they made me stand against the wall. They took my measurements, and there was like green lines and orange lines on the wall. And I was like, what do these mean? Like, I didn't know if green was good or orange was good. Am I in? Am I not in? What does this mean? Like, and I saw some people's above me. I was like, am I too small? Like, you know, and you have all these doubts going through your head. Like, you don't know, they don't give you any information. But then when I left, the guy said to me, he's like, Donna, really, honestly, it was amazing to meet you. We're so proud of you, and you'll hear from us. And I was like, okay, that's a good sign. And then my agent called me at the end. She's like, Donna, they loved you, that you were the best of the day. You're definitely going to hear
Wow.
back. But then at that point, so many weeks went past and I heard nothing. So I literally thought I'd lost the job. And, you know, it's so hard in the industry we're in because it's always like that. It's so many ups and downs. And it's very hard to you know, not judge yourself, not question your ability.
Of course.
Yeah, because you just, it's always rejection. You're maybe going to get like maybe 2 or 3% of the jobs, and you're going to lose at least, you know, 90% of them. So like, because this was such a life-changing opportunity for me, I was just like, please, please. But anyway, it took like 2 months for me to actually hear back. And they were like, Donna, you've got the job, and you're actually going to be, you know, you're going to be accepted as cast. You're not going to be production. So like, I got a
No
production role.
way.
So like, obviously that means like the salary goes up. It means you get credits. It means all of these things. I just couldn't believe it. I remember that day and I was just like so speechless. But at the same time, you're not allowed to tell anyone you've got it because it's top secret. So you
Oh.
can't tell anyone. No one can know that you're an Amazon, because from Wonder Woman 1, the Amazons became a massive phenomenon. And it wasn't really meant to be about the Amazons, but it became such a
Became a
big,
thing.
big,
Yeah.
yeah, everyone's like, wow, these strong, powerful women, they're goddesses, you know? So yeah, so it was quite tough. It was quite a tough transition because at that time I'd been offered a job in Dubai, and I was actually meant to come and move to Dubai to become a, like, you know, a trainer in a gym here, a boutique gym. And I actually had to call the gym and say, listen, I've just been offered the kind of role of a lifetime, and I have to turn down the job. And they were like, oh, we totally understand. Don't worry. Like, call us when you're done. We definitely want you. So it was like very crazy time for me. So yeah, then I went into the film, and we done like 6 months in the film, and you know, we got to travel a bit, and every day got training, and I learned so many skills. And it was just what a truly, truly, you know, humbling and exhilarating experience all in one, and something I will
Wow.
never ever forget in my life. And it really threw me into like, this is what I want to do. Like, I really enjoy it. I love it. I feel like I'm built for it. I feel like all my dance training, karate, everything that I'd done in the past, even classes, teaching, boxing, like all of these skills that I'd kind of learned throughout my childhood to now, I was like, just set me in the right place to like be able
Yeah.
to adapt a lot of the things they threw at me. So
Wow.
yeah, that's basically a very long introduction to my background. Sorry for the time it took me to get all that out. But yeah, that's basically where I got to and why I'm here now.
Wow. Well, I have to say this is the first time that every single question I would have asked has already been answered. So thank you for making my job a whole lot easier.
Ah, cool.
No, that's incredible. I there's so many things that you've just said. I'm like, wow, how do I get on with this? Okay. So firstly, massive kudos to you for being able to get out of a
Thank
toxic
you.
relationship and to start your own brand, and even leaving your brand in the UK as you pursue like kind of a new chapter for yourself in the UAE. And whoa, you are way more badass. You're like, I would say Superwoman, but I'm gonna say Wonder Woman. You're literally Wonder Woman and everything you just
Yeah,
described
I
to
feel
me.
like I should be her. I feel like I am her in
That's
ways.
a listen. But I do wanted to kind of touch on a couple things that you said in specific. So I know that you mentioned that you were kind of coming out of a kind of difficult relationship and that you wanted to kind of close that chapter and able to kind of grow to your next step. So what was that journey like for you? How did you really detach from that stage in your life to start the new one?
To be honest, it was, I'd say in my life, I haven't faced much adversity or trauma. To be honest, I've been very lucky. I've had a very stable and loving household that I grew up in. So yeah, the relationship I was in, again, it was a performer, and it was it was like a 9.5 year relationship. So
Oh
it was a
wow.
substantial amount of time. It was like a marriage, you know. It's the first time I'd say I'd truly been in love. It's the first time I truly like gave myself to someone. And we really tried to work through it. He was fighting his own demons. He's also a performer, trying to establish himself in a crazy world that is, the performing arts. And it's not easy, because as I said, we're facing these challenges all the time of rejection, and you always feel like there's a lack of self-worth for yourself, because other people control my destiny. I don't control it myself. Like, I could know that I'm good enough to be in Wonder Woman, but I don't have the final say. If the director or the producer or the stunt team are like, sorry, you're just not, we don't want you, then you just lose these opportunities, So it's very hard to build a thick skin to be able to accept rejection all the time. And I think, honestly, for me, why I've managed to do it is due to my mom and dad. Like, they've been together, they're very stable, they've always filled me with love, they've never really pushed me to be anything other than what I am. They've always said, Donna, if you enjoy it, do it. If you don't, step away. They've never really truly understand my job. They've never truly got it. They're like, how can you put yourself through this? My mom still to this day doesn't get it. She's like, Donna, you're always waiting on calls, your phone could go off and you could lose your job, or your phone could go off and you could be going to Hollywood tomorrow. It's very I would say it's not an easy way to live. It's not for everyone. And that's why I would truly say that anyone that wants to go into this kind of profession or industry, you have to really love it. It's not about the money. You don't get paid well. As a dancer, you really don't particularly get treated well. If you're a singer, you're favored. The dancers kind of do all the background work. We're filling the stage all the time. It's really hard work, but we don't really get the recognition. So coming from a dancer to a stunt woman who became cast on Wonder Woman, literally feeling like an A-list celebrity for all of us. The dancers, none of us had experienced that kind, nurturing, acceptance. We had our own trailer, we had our own makeup artist, we had our own hairstylist, we had, everything. It was just honestly, I felt, even though I was a Z-list celebrity, I felt like an A-star celebrity. I was like, wow, this is crazy. Everyone was so kind. Everyone was, we had our own driver that picked us up every day. And it was just such a different experience, because I'm used to riding on the back of a bus, sharing a room with 5 other people or whatever it may be, or maybe that 2 people to a room. You never really get, you don't really get looked after well, and you don't get paid well, So
what would you say is something that really kept motivating you throughout this? I know that you're saying that you said earlier, only 2 or 3% of the jobs that you would get auditioned for, you would potentially get cast for. So I understand that you enjoy it, but is there something specific that you feel really, really mentally and physically got you through it?
It's honestly it's passion. It honestly is just love. From whenever I can remember the time I've stepped on stage, it's such an exhilarating experience. And that's again why it's so hard, because you face such high highs. You're on stage, you have the audience giving you affirmation, clapping, cheering, standing ovations, and then you get off the stage and you sit at home and you're like, it takes a long time to come back down to earth. Yeah, because everything's loud, everything's bright, you got full face makeup, amazing costume. It's so fast paced, and you're doing something you truly love, from my heart. Honestly, if I didn't love it, I couldn't do it, because it doesn't pay well. Again, I could get a job for 6 months, I could have no work, then I go to work, do extra work, or I go to work, I don't know, handing leaflets out on the street. As I said, I've done so many crazy jobs just to fill in gaps, So again, it's very humbling, because you can go from being dancing with a pop star one day into the next day, again, standing on the street. It's making £10 an hour. So it's very difficult to put kind of into perspective, what you go through. It's not easy. It's very challenging. You have to love it. And again, it's really not for anyone. And you have to really get to a point in your head. I had to get to a point in my head where I was like, Donna, it's not you. It's not about you. You're great. You're good at what you do. You've worked so hard, and you just can't take it personally. You just have to be and I think, when 2-3 years go past, you start to get used to it, at the start, it's very hard. You graduate, you graduate from college, you might be the top of your class. You think you're the bee's knees. You're like, yeah, I can take on the world. And then, you go to an audition and everyone's graduated from dance college at the top of their class, so we're all in the same boat. We're all fighting for that one job. Someone else might look exactly like me. How do you stand out? And I wouldn't say I particularly do stand out. I'm very average, you know. You have other people who are very striking. They may have afro hair. They may like, you know, something that makes them stand out. Yeah, okay, I was tall, very athletic. My legs kind of, you know, my legs got me a lot of jobs. I was very flexible, but like I didn't have really anything I would say that I'm like, I walk in a room and people look at me. They wouldn't turn for me. I'd say I kind of blended in, you know, so it was difficult. I find it kind of difficult that way because I couldn't really find a way to make myself different. So then I cut all my hair off. I started getting into hair modeling. So I literally shaved my head off and I had like really short, spiky hair. And I was like, okay, let's try this. But then I did that for a while, which made me stand out in a different way. And then I ended up losing a lot of like showgirl jobs because I was tall. So I got a lot of like showgirl. So like, you know, it was kind of like this. And I was like, maybe it wasn't a good idea because I used to get a lot of showgirl work because I was tall and very leggy, like, you know, doing Can, Moulin Rouge, all these kind of things, which suited me. But then they don't always see past the hair. They don't want to be like, oh, this girl can wear a wig. They just want to see how you're going to look there and then. So, you know, I took risks. I tried like, and I was lucky to book a lot of jobs. I got to do a lot of things that I wanted to do. I got to travel the world. But yeah, it wasn't easy. And then, you know, going through a breakup as well, having to like look into myself. And at that point, when I went through the kind of breakup, I was like coming towards the end of my professional career, not necessarily coming to the end, like dancing will always be my main passion still to this day. But you know, I was like, okay, I'm 32 years old now. I need to like find stability. I don't want to be living out of a suitcase. I want to have something that's stable where I can, you know, something to call home. So yeah, I kind of had to make the hard decision. I was like, I'm going to build my own business. And you know, when you start being a PT as well, you have clients that you have to be there for, you have to show up for. Of course. I can't keep cut, like, you know, and you build that relationship with them and you see them transforming. And it was quite nice for me to go to that process of being a trainer because it wasn't about me anymore. It was really about me giving back to someone. Whereas your dancer and your performer, it's a very like vain, ego-driven industry. It's all about me. I have to be the best. I have to stand out. I have to do this. And like, look at me. And to be honest, that's never who I was. It's not really who I was. I'd probably say I have insecurities in ways. Like I've never really been that confident in my abilities. I don't know why. I don't know where it comes from. Maybe because my mom and dad were never like, you're amazing. You know, they love me unconditionally, but they were never like people to like praise me and, you know, like really, really push me. They were just like, do what you want. When I look back, I wish they were a bit more like, yeah, I wish they were a bit more aggressive with it now because the industry needed me to be that way, you know?
Yeah, thick skin.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, I think that's why I still love it. I didn't fall out of love for it. They didn't push me to do anything I didn't want to do. I chose it for myself. And I'm kind of the black sheep of my family. I'm the only one that doesn't have a stable job, you know, like I kind of just trot around. So where am I going to be today? Where am I going to end up? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Yeah, I'm here, there, and everywhere. It's crazy.
That's amazing.
But you know, I kind of like it. And I feel like, you know, anywhere I go in the world, I kind of have someone I can call and be like, yo, I'm in town. You know, I've met so many cool people. I've been so fortunate to do what I love and still continue to do what I love and relatively stay injury free throughout my whole career. Until 1 year ago, I had my first major surgery, which has really, you know, been a process that I'm still going through. But I've been very fortunate to stay fit and stay working, to be honest. So yeah, that's basically. So, you know, I think you have to go through hardships in order to grow. I think that was a big learning step for me and somewhere where I really had to find like, what are you going to do next? And you know, fitness I kind of turned to, but again, at the same time, it's another industry where it's never guaranteed. Clients come, clients go.
Yeah. I mean, you can never really, you can't,
so,
there's no
I never have that job where it's like, you're guaranteed, okay, Donna, you have money. Like, you know, if I get sick, I can't work. If I get injured, I can't work. So, like, it's always that kind of like interesting process. So now, you know, like I'd be looking more to invest in a gym, buy an asset now, maybe here in Dubai, like partner with someone and open something, create my own concept. So that's kind of where, that's kind of where I'm at now. And obviously Dubai is very built for it. Like every second person I meet is a personal trainer. There's gyms popping up every 2 minutes. Like it's really insane, but it's, you know, it's nice that people are taking health it's you know, people are caring about their health and their wellness now. They want to be fit. They're caring about their bodies. They're caring about what they're putting into their bodies. So,
Definitely.
you know, it's a great time to be alive, to be honest, and see what's going on around the region. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I really enjoyed listening to your story, Donna. I think you have so much passion. I think you have excelled in so many ways. I couldn't even list them on my hands if I tried to. I think you're such an inspiration for the people listening to this episode, not just the women, but the men as well, just to know that like you actually, if you really, really persevere and if you really believe in yourself, then you will definitely accomplish much more than you think you're capable of. And I really appreciate you taking the time to be on the show today.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'll just say, guys, yeah, if you do want to really get into it, like always recognize, like, don't just recognize your flaws. I think it's very easy for us to recognize what we're bad at. And we never really recognize our strengths. So I guess the message would be to always take care of yourself and your body, because it's the only one that you have. We don't have any more. So always
Body
take
is
care
a
of that.
temple.
Exactly. You know, have eyes that truly see and ears that listen. Embrace the things that make you who you are, and you know, be kind to people, because you know, we are only here for this short time on earth. So whoever we can help and inspire and encourage along the way, I think it's very important. And you know, people are trying to get to where we are, and if I can help people become, you know, me in 10 years, I'm not going to be here. So, you know, it's nice to be able to pass on what you can do to others. And yeah, that's basically my message.
Thank you so much for your time, Donna. This has been awesome talking to you.
Thank you so much, guys. And I hope to speak to you all again soon.
Cool. Take care, Donna. Bye, guys. See you next episode.
Bye.